hosting a conversation about creating a diverse mentoring network. So today, the mentor panelists will describe the power of having a network that is very diverse in nature so that you can accomplish your goals. We know that it takes a village to accomplish your goals. So this conversation is really helping individuals understand where they can go to build their network, and then how they can cultivate their network. And mentor spaces could be a key part of that discussion. So my name is Kunal Parvadia. I'm one of the community managers here at Mentor Spaces. I'm excited to introduce the mentors as well as the guest moderator for this discussion. Before we get started, I wanted to let everybody know if you are not able to attend, people who are listening into the recording, feel free to share your questions in the spaces as they come up, and the mentors here can support in addressing those questions. We will also be making sure that anybody who wants to share this with their friends can easily use this share link through the application to share this with their friends outside of the network. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Randy to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Randy Emelo, and I'm the program strategist here at Mentor Spaces, and really looking forward to digging into the topic today and finding out what our mentor panelists think about this concept of having multiple people in a mentoring network approach. And we'll dive into that topic in just a moment, but let's go ahead and hear, first of all, let our mentor panelists introduce themselves. Leslie, do you want to go ahead and give a quick introduction before we get started?
Sure, just testing that you guys can hear me okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. So I'm Leslie Fisher. I'm the founder of L2 Diversity, which is a consultancy that specializes in closing the gap for Black and Brown people, but working with organizations to affect and make sure that we improve diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm just happy to be here and look forward to the discussion.
Thanks.
Also, I'm a member of the San Francisco chapter of the National Black MBA Association, and I'm on the Entrepreneur and Business Development Committee.
Great. Thanks, Leslie. Adria?
Hi, my name is Adria Lindquist. I am a former En-ROADS intern, and currently I'm a CPA, self-employed, working with my father. We have a practice up in Mount Vernon, New York. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Adria. I was just seeing something going on there with the screens. But anyway, technical issues aside, let's jump right in and get started. When I first got involved in mentoring and working with organizations in particular in mentoring, and that's, I think, primarily the focus of the mentoring we want to talk about is professional or career-based mentoring. When I first got involved over 20 years ago now, the focus was primarily on having a single mentor for life. And today we know that that's just not flexible enough. It doesn't provide enough variety it just doesn't meet the need with today, because of the rise of technology and virtualized communications, and also the proliferation of information. So we all have access to information right at our fingertips. Pretty much just about the world's information is available to us. So it's not so much about accessing information, it's about understanding what to do with that information. And so this is where mentoring comes in and provides that implicit or tacit support to understand how to contextualize, or what is the appropriate next steps that someone might take as they're looking to apply information or as they're looking to gain a skill or pursue a career opportunity. So with that in mind, what we've realized is that over, I would say, the last 15 years, there's been a steady march towards increasing the pool of mentors that someone engages with and being involved as both a mentor and a mentee, and really leveraging the value of mentoring beyond kind of, the sage on the hill kind of mentor that would guide someone throughout their whole career. So with that in mind, I thought it would be good for us to talk a little bit about what different kinds of mentors have you had in your experience as you've engaged in your career. Let's just go ahead and throw it over to Leslie, and let's hear a little bit of your story and a little bit of how you've leveraged mentoring in the different kinds of mentors that you might have had.
Okay, so I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to talk to it from a mentor perspective, but a mentee perspective, but I'm also going to talk to it from a mentor perspective because I'm both.
Yeah.
So what I find that's been helpful in my career, as well as in my volunteer efforts, because I do a lot of volunteering outside of working, is looking to people who are further along than myself. And sometimes they're called sponsors, sometimes they're called mentors. I think if people can help you, get a promotion or get moved into another level, they're considered a sponsor. So I look out for people who can, who have more experience than I have in an organization, who understand how to navigate the organization, and who can also help me network in the organization. So that's how I've chosen my mentors in the past. And it could be, in the past, it's been specific to, sometimes it's specific to the organization. For instance, a nonprofit group that I volunteer with that only works with women. There's a few mentors that have been there for considerably longer than I have. And so I definitely tapped in to them whenever I was trying to make a decision or if I was hitting a bump or whatever. Work-wise, I may tap into consultants who have already been consulting in the space longer than I have. I always ask my best friend, who's also a consultant, what her opinion is because she knows me so well. So it could be people who are doing similar work. It could be people who are further along. And in some cases, it's people who just know me really well.
Great. Thank you so much, Leslie. We'll dig into asking a little bit more about your mentoring experience, but I really do appreciate the fact that you acknowledge that you're both mentor and mentee, which I think is a little more real life. In fact, the research, part of the research that I've done has really looked at, what creates a high potential or high functioning performer in organizations, and they typically have a network, and they're both of kind of mentoring, sponsorship, coaching, teaching kind of relationships, but there are these knowledge connections that they have where they're both giving and receiving, and sometimes at the peer level that happens where really you're doing both when you're interacting with someone who has kind of the same relative experience and understanding of whatever the conversation is focused on. So let's go over and hear a little bit from Adria about her experiences in the different kinds of mentoring engagements or relationships, the different kind of conversations that she's been involved in.
Yes, I agree with both Randy and Leslie. You definitely need someone, everyone needs someone, and the going to someone with experience is very helpful because they can give you guidance, and then they have connections where they know other people, and there's always someone that may know someone that, and you may need them somewhere down the line. That's what I've learned. So it's always good to maintain those networks and acquaintances and friendships. And then definitely the people around you help you, the people that are closest to you because they know you best, as Leslie said. Um, I find that a lot of clients that are referred to me are referred from friends or people that worked with me in the past. So someone that knows how I do things and what I like. Um, I definitely believe that you have to rely on others, and no one is can get there by themselves, and it's always helpful to have that base to rely on. And the base should be diverse because this world is a diverse world that consists of many people from many different backgrounds.
Great. I really appreciate the comments and the perspective. I know that, yeah, Leslie?
I just wanted to piggyback on what
Yeah.
both of you were saying, because based on the fact that I'm both a mentor and a mentee, what I found actually is that sometimes I will flip-flop. So I have a couple of mentees that I work with that sometimes the relationship flip-flops depending on what needs to be discussed or what expertise that mentee may have. And the mentee may actually be advising me, and we may switch roles. So it's sometimes it can actually be fluid, and the person that I'm advising may be advising me depending on the subject. Just wanted to throw that in.
No, absolutely. Again, I think the best way to think of mentoring is as a fluid, series of conversations and relationships that you have where you're sharing that craft know-how. It's really, sometimes you're sharing resources that are known and written and codified, but a lot of times it's the soft information, it's the judgment kind of information that you're sharing or looking for, that insider perspective, or what's called personalized information, that information that only comes through experience or through doing. In looking, again, I've written a book called Modern Mentoring. I've written over 50 feature articles on this topic. So again, this is kind of a broad passion area for me, but just for those who are listening in, there are different kind of levers that you can use mentoring for. And some of the suggestions are, sometimes you're looking for someone who's an industry expert that can help you understand some nuance or some special thing about an area of career or professional interest or industry expertise that you're looking for. Sometimes you're looking for someone who can advocate for you, who understands you and your skill set, and then can help open doors for you. A little bit of what Leslie was talking about. Sometimes that's called sponsorship, where someone's willing to open a door and vouch for you and kind of introduce you to a circle of relationships you might not otherwise be privileged to. Sometimes you're looking for a network advisor, someone to actually help you to build a network in an area or a focus of career development, and someone in the know who knows other people who can help connect and guide you through, or at least advise you on how to create a robust network that's going to serve a certain purpose in your career. Sometimes you might be looking for someone to help you build skills. Let's say it's a complex series of skills like sales skills or presentation skills. These tend to be highly complex, and it's good to get someone who's really good at doing that to help you learn that skill. And they just focus on that area. They really don't focus on other areas of your career development. Sometimes you just need a thoughtful critic, that person who knows you well and that you can take that direct feedback from. Yes, Randy, indeed, you were too aggressive. You made too much eye contact. You used too much, whatever it might be, but that person who will tell you the truth. And sometimes an organizational guide, and sometimes a confidant. Now I'm just throwing these out there because at any given time in as you're going about through your career, you could kind of look at these different angles. So what we're trying to do is get you to broaden your understanding and conceptualization as to what a mentor could do. With that said, I'm going to ask both of you right now, both Leslie and Adria, is there an area like right now, if you were looking for a mentor, what kind of mentor would you be looking for? And what would they possibly help you do? Leslie?
Well, I think for me, because I've pivoted into the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion space, one of the biggest things I was looking for, which I found through a referral from my sister, believe it or not, is a connection that would help with skill development, that could help with connections as well, and that could advise me on the path that I need to go down in order to, based on my awareness and my knowledge. And so one of the people that I found, who actually we set up the relationship so that I was mentoring her because she wanted to become an independent consultant. And it ended up, that's one of those relationships that has flip-flop because she just has umpteen years in HR and in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's just an amazing person. So she actually covers several kind of the things that you mentioned. She's an industry expert. She's a passionate advocate. She helped me kind of navigate determining whether I was going to take some opportunities that I was presented or not. A networking advisor, a skill maven, and even a thoughtful critic. She's good about telling me how I compare to other people who may be entering the field with less experience or less knowledge, or going in a different direction even than what I'm going. So she understands the field enough that she can kind of help me navigate and tell me what are the right things to do and what are the wrong things to do. And she's just a great resource as well. And I do also have advisors who have lots of experience in the field as well. And similarly, I can present, how things are going with my clients to them. They can give me feedback. They can provide direction based on their experience and things of that nature. So in that sense, they also are industry experts, skill mavens, and in some cases, thoughtful critics as well.
Oh, that's great. I really, I like the emphasis that you put on having that, that expert perspective and that outside expert perspective. A lot of times that's the one thing that even if we're experienced practitioners, we need someone outside of ourselves to help us consider other options or other ways, or just simply, as I heard you say, kind of stack rank, where are our abilities or what are our strengths as it relates to other people who are doing the same thing. A lot of times getting that outside expert opinion and perspective is just so rich and so valuable. Really appreciate the in-depth explanation about who you're connecting with and what value they're bringing to you. Adria, if you were
Sure.
looking to, looking for a mentor right now, what would you be looking for?
I'm actually getting ready to make a transition. So I'm looking for a mentor that uh, perhaps is already in a different field than I am in. Currently, I'm in the accounting field, the finance field, and I'm looking to go make that transition over into sort of the creative field and use my accounting background to establish a business helping make music. So I don't have a lot of experience making music, but I have a drive and a creativity. So with that, I'm going to attend some industry events so that I can get to know individuals in that field. And the people that I currently know, actually, start having more contact with them and going to diverse events and things like that, just to build myself up and to sort of broaden my perspective.
No, I like that a lot. And thanks for actually leading into a question I was going to ask, but I think both of you have supplied, kind of responses that line up with how would you go about finding one of these mentors. And again, if you're looking for someone who is an industry expert, then going to an industry event or joining a community, even if it's online and virtual, and beginning to connect with people from that community or that profession that have that focus, beginning to build some relationship, and then simply ask some of those people that you're meeting who might, who they might refer to you based off of what your needs are. And in this kind of approach to finding a mentor, it's one of the early concepts that I guess I latched onto, and that I think that other people like yourselves who've been really successful have latched onto, and that is learn to ask for what you want. Learn to, get yourself in the right environment, connect with the people who are in the know. And even if that person isn't available or doesn't feel that they're the right person for you, a lot of times they know someone who is, and they can help make that introduction, that warm introduction, to build that network. And Leslie, you had talked about the connection coming through your sister. And isn't it funny that when you avail yourself and you kind of, put yourself out there, or you create an intention, all of a sudden you start seeing the opportunity. And I'm also hearing that, Adria, in your story, that you're being pulled into this different kind of career focus, and as you get pulled in there, you don't have a lot of experience, but you have passion, you have drive, and you have experience in other areas of your professional life that you can leverage into this. So I think that those are all great examples. How do you go about doing it? Well, if you're a member of Mentor Spaces, you're in a community of people who are here to help mentor, and we have spaces that represent lots of different industry focuses and functional focuses. And we have corporate organizations that also have mentors that would love to help you understand what happens, inside of their community or inside of their organization and how that works. So this provides a great environment. That's why we exist, to try to provide an amplified space to make connections. And with that, we have just a few more minutes left. I would ask both of you, how much time and energy do you give, or, if you would to put on your what if hat, if someone were in a career transition or they were looking to make a jump or to learn something new, how much time and energy should they put into cultivating a mentoring relationship? Leslie?
Yeah, I mean, even though you may only meet with your mentorship partner once a month for 30 minutes or so, and some may meet more frequently if there's a more immediate need. But even though you're meeting for that period of time, I feel like there's also time spent just, as you're going through the course of things, to think about those opportunities that may help with your career. And so, I mean, I find myself as a mentor, I might come across somebody that I think would be a good contact for my mentee. And so I make sure I make that connection, or I'll say something to that person. So even though you're only meeting for a certain period of time, I think there's always kind of, similar to how I run my business, I'm always thinking of networking. I'm always thinking of opportunities. So you're always trying to see if there's things that could help give your mentee a nudge, or something that my mentor has asked me to follow up on or think about. If I come across something that may involve, taking some time to work on it, or develop a relationship, or do a podcast or whatever, you want to make sure you provide that extra time to do that. And it becomes like breathing or whatever. It's just part of what you do. So I can't really answer your question with a set amount of time, but I think if you can just integrate it into kind of your daily course of life, then it kind of becomes effortless.
Adria, could you add to that at all?
Sure, I was going to say as much time as needed. And as Leslie said, you may only meet for a half an hour, but whatever you need to contribute in order to get a good understanding and to be able to help others. So if it takes 5 hours a week, then it's 5 hours, but it's all for a purpose. And that's what you always have to remember. This will all work out for my good.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate both of your participation today, and thanks for sharing your rich experience and background. As a reference point, research shows that people who are high performing and high productive in their career spend 5 to 6 hours a week in personal development, whether that's with a mentor, with a coach, reading industry articles, but they're just focused on learning. So also consider that about 20%, 15 to 20% of your time should go towards continuing to better yourself. And mentoring is a great way to do it. Kunal, why don't you take us out of here? We look like we're right at the half hour.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining this conversation, and for those listening in on the recording. Yeah, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, if you have any questions for Adria or Leslie, feel free to share those in the spaces that they participate in. Feel free to follow them, and you can find the spaces that they're in. And if you are interested in connecting with one of these mentors or any mentor on Mentor Spaces, the way to do that is to reach out to us through the concierge channel. So feel free to raise your hand there. Let us know what your goal is, how you want to connect with a mentor to start developing your diverse mentoring network, and we'll go ahead and make that connection. So one last note before we sign off, we have another roundtable session next Tuesday. This session is all about how to know when it's time to change a career. So we've had a lot of people in the community talk about transitioning to another career, whether they are transitioning from what they were studying in college to something completely different when they graduate, or they're pivoting their career after some years of experience in one career path. Let's go ahead and and join this session to learn from mentors who have been through that experience. With that, I'll go ahead and close it out. Thank you again for participating here, Adria and Leslie, and look forward to follow-on discussions on this topic.
Appreciate the
Thank you.
opportunity. Bye, guys.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.